What's up YouTube, Seth here with another Battlefield 3 gameplay commentary, and let me just say before I begin to all of the 5 people who actually watch my content that yes, I know I don't put out videos very often. This channel was started basically just to have fun and for a couple of friends who wanted me to do some commentaries and the like, so I never really intended for this channel to really go anywhere significant or get really big, so I apologize to anyone who actually sees this or subscribes to my channel that I don't really put out a lot of content, but that's the way it's going to be, and unless I see a huge popularity boost for some unknown weird reason, I'm probably going to keep putting out videos at a fairly slow clip. But when I do put them out, I try to make them fairly good quality, even though I don't even have a real professional mic, as you might hear. So anyway, this game is a round of Conquest Domination on Donia Fortress. I'm using the support kit with the L86 equipped with a bipod and laser sight, and I switched that up to the extended mags a bit of the way through the video because I was hoping that maybe the extended mags would add a significant amount of bullets to the clip and maybe give me another good option besides the PKP to use with the support class, because it's a fairly accurate, agile, and fast-firing LMG, but it just doesn't have a lot of bullets in the clip, so I was hoping that maybe extended mags would help with that, and it would give me a really good alternative to the PKP. Unfortunately, that's not the case, as it only adds 15 bullets to the clip, so I probably won't be using the L86 very much. However, this game did end up getting very close at the end, and ended very close in a couple of respects, and you'll see what I mean at the end of the video. But anyway, this video is not primarily about the gameplay, although you should watch it in the background and pay attention, because it is interesting, I believe. But today's topic is something that was brought on by slight fits of rage that I and a couple of my friends have been having recently, and also rage that I've been observing on forums and among some other YouTube commentators, and that is the subject of team stacking. Now, there's a few misconceptions, I believe, among players about team stacking that are leading them to be a bit more angry than they should be, and they're ignoring some of the solutions and remedies that they could employ to maybe help themselves out and not get so mad about team stacking. The first thing is, there's a difference between stacked teams and team stackers. Stacked teams occur when one team either has a great number of players more than the other team, or the players that they have greatly outlevel the players on the other team. Now, this could happen for a number of reasons. It could be just however many spaces were open on each team at a certain time, so all of the players got put on one team. It could be because DICE's auto-balancing system and its system for putting players on teams when they join is based, as far as I know, solely on the skill level statistic, so that statistic can easily be raised or lowered dramatically over the course of a couple rounds, leading to players who don't necessarily deserve to have high skill levels having very high skill levels, and it skews the auto-balancing and the teams when new players join the round, because they might not actually be as good or as bad as the game thinks they are. Also, it could be for reasons such as a bunch of people just left on a certain team, so a lot of players get to join the empty slots in that. Or it could be actually because some really good player invited a bunch of friends and loaded up a team with some really good players. Now, a lot of people seem to get, at least in my experience, really mad whenever another team has a lot more players or a lot better players in terms of rank than they do. And I think that this anger is not entirely justified for the reasons that I just stated a minute ago, and that is, it's not intentional. The stacking of the teams was mostly accidental, and usually when the round switches or players leave or anything like that, you can either switch teams if you really want to be on the winning or what you perceive to be the better team, which I think is a bit cowardly, but there's nothing necessarily wrong with that because you do play the game to have fun. Or you could just wait until the round ends and you get auto-balanced onto the other team, or some of their players get auto-balanced onto your team, or any of those things. So I think that a lot of this anger that I've seen can be fixed simply by either waiting for the round to end, or switching teams, or any of that stuff, and it shouldn't really be there in the first place necessarily, because it is kind of annoying that DICE's auto-balancing system works that way, but there's nothing we can really do about that unless DICE somehow implements a system that's more sophisticated and takes various different statistics into consideration. Now, the thing that is worth getting upset about, in my opinion, is team stackers. Not stacked teams that get stacked accidentally, but team stackers. That is, players who deliberately load up their team with good players with the intent to spawn trap and spawn rape and do all sorts of terrible things to the other team simply because they are not very good themselves, and so they need to imbalance the teams dramatically to do very well. Now, the purpose of the game is to have fun and it's to play with friends, and I have nothing against that. I mean, I play with friends all the time. I very regularly play in games with squads of 2, 3, or 4 people, and yeah, then we usually end up winning the games because we're communicating with each other, we have good chemistry with each other, and we know how to play pretty well. We're all pretty good players. But I see very often, especially in rented servers, and that's a whole other issue, clans and giant groups of friends joining at the same time. That is 5, 6, 7, I've seen 10 players on the same team in a public lobby join very, very close, in a very close span of time to each other, and then proceed to beat the crap out of the other team because the other team is just loosely random players who just happened to drop into the game and ended up on the same team together. Now, I think that if you have enough players in your party, that is, you have organized a group of friends, or a group of your friends happen to be joining on you and playing with you at the same time. If you have enough of those people to form 2 whole squads, or say 2 squads where one squad has 3 people and the other squad has 3 people, so at least 6 players, you should send half of those to the other team. I believe that if you have a clan or a group of people that's big enough to actually have that many players, you probably should look into clan battles, or maybe not clan battles, but more organized matches, because you'll have to turn on TeamSpeak anyway in the game if you want all of the people to be talking to each other, and then, at least in my experience, TeamSpeak doesn't let you communicate with members of your own squad, so you end up spreading the members of your clan or your friends very, very thinly, and it really detracts from the game experience overall. And, I mean, well, that's sort of a rhetorical question, but I think, and at least this is the case for me, a lot of players like competitive games and games where you actually have to fight for the victory than games where you just spawn trap or are spawn trapped yourself. And putting half of your clan or your friends on the other team is a great way to ensure that you have a more competitive, interesting game than if you just all sat on the same team together. Unfortunately, there's quite a few players who also enjoy just stacking teams and sitting there spawn camping the enemies to pad their stats and seem all elite and professional to everybody else, even though they're not very good. And I don't like that at all. I think that admins have a responsibility then to prevent this if they see this happening on their server, and the problem there, then, is that a lot of the time the admin is actually on the team, or the clan, or the squad, doing the team stacking. Now this I really don't like at all. I think that, sure, you bought the server, it's yours to do, or you didn't buy it, but you paid for the renting of the server, and you can do what you want with it, but it's really kind of a dick move to just stack your team with a bunch of players who you know are better than the other team, and who the other team can't really do anything about, simply because you want to win automatically and you want to ruin the fun for everybody else in the game, because it basically means you'll have an automatic victory when you put all of the good players on your team. There are some admins that I've encountered who are much better about this, and some admins who actually will balance out the teams, and they'll keep the game fair, and it'll be an interesting, fun time. But more often than not, I'll drop into a game, often a rented server run by a clan. It advertises that it's run by a clan, and there will be 8 or 10 members of that clan on the other team, from the team that I've joined, spawn trapping us in our base. And sometimes I'll message them, sometimes I'll just leave if that's the case, and very rarely do I actually ever get some kind of response justifying their actions, or even just telling me to fuck off. I mean, often I think that they know what they're doing, and they do it deliberately, and it's sort of a dick move. I really don't agree with people who do that. Now, to solve that problem as a player, it's very difficult because you can't really do anything about a bunch of players on a rented server that's not yours that like to just sit in there and spawn camp you. And when I get into games like that, often I will just end up leaving. You can try messaging the admin. I actually have successfully messaged the admin once. Yes, only once out of all of my time playing has this actually worked, but sometimes it's worth a shot. You can message the admin, tell them what's going on, ask them to maybe give you some of their players, or ask them why they're stacking the team, anything like that, and maybe you'll actually get something out of it. More often than not, you actually just have to leave. I know this issue has been around since the beginning of rented servers, but I've seen just so much hate about it lately that I figured I should make a commentary about it, because I wanted to bring to the public's attention that there's not always a motive behind stacking a team, and that would be just the teams that happen to get stacked accidentally. And then there are some things you could do about it if you just have patience, or if you have initiative to message some people. Although then, of course, there are the teams that end up getting stacked because people are douchebags and they want to automatically win, they want to pad their stats, and they don't care if they ruin the fun of the rest of the server. And those are the servers that you should just avoid. Part of what makes rented servers great, on the other hand, I've done a lot of complaining about rented servers so far, is that you can now favorite servers, you can pick servers that you like over other servers, and you can pick servers where you know the admin is going to be fair, where you expect teams to be fairly even most of the time, even if they do get accidentally stacked. And I really hate, again, when people get mad because they drop into a game and they say, "Oh, the other team is so stacked, they're such team stacking douchebags, I'm gonna message them all and tell them how terrible they are." No, that's not always the case. Just find servers that you enjoy playing in, that you like the admins of, or you know the admins of. I mean, I know a couple of servers where I know the admins, and I know that I'm going to have a decent time on those servers because I know that the admins aren't douchebags. So, if you're having a lot of trouble finding a server where you can have a good time and where the teams aren't stacked, just look through the servers, search by criteria of a good server, in your opinion. So, like, if for me, I like 100% ticket games. I really can't stand games more than 100 tickets. Search 100% in the search bar. Find some servers that fit your criteria, favorite them, and see how the games play out in those servers. And if you like them, then favorite them, and you can keep going into those servers and populate them and make them even more popular and make them pop up on the search function and on the server browser, so even more people can play in those servers. What you shouldn't do is just whine and complain about teams being stacked and admins doing this and all kinds of stuff like that, because, you know, it's the internet. People are not going to change just because you message them, and yes, I know I've said I message them, I know I've complained about them throughout this commentary, but now I'm saying, at least what I've done is I have a lot of servers that I enjoy playing on that I know are not going to be stacked, or I'm pretty sure they're not going to be stacked. Of course, you can never have a guarantee, but I have a lot of fun most of the time because I've filtered out all of my options, and I'm able to have a few servers that I really enjoy playing on, and it really makes the Battlefield 3 experience a lot better for me. So just take that advice, and hopefully you can have a bit more fun with the game if you just find servers that you enjoy, if you have patience with unintentionally stacked teams, and maybe you can even reason with an obnoxious admin or two, because you never know. I mean, it is the internet, but there are some nice people and some nice servers out there, and the game was meant to have fun. And if you're not having some fun. I mean, I don't have fun all of the time with the game, but if you're not having fun most of the time, then you're doing it wrong. And so, to finish off this topic, I'd just like to say, for everyone who's constantly getting mad about this, please stop it. It's really obnoxious to just go into a game and hear nothing but complaining about team stacking and stupid admins and all kinds of stuff over the team chat, and it's obnoxious on the forums to have lots of posts about, oh, this guy stacks his teams, that guy stacks his teams, all kinds of stuff, and it's obnoxious, yes, for me to get messaged, now that I'm Colonel 100, obviously I'm not in this video because it was recorded a while ago, but now I'm a Colonel 100, it's obnoxious for me to get messaged all the time, stop giving us no chance, stop stacking your team, stop being such a dick, because I'm not trying to do that either. I almost never join any games with more than 3 people in my squad, and whenever I do join a game with more people than I can fit in one squad, I do tell them to go on to the other team. And when I'm just playing by myself, and I happen to do really, really well, and people get mad at me, I mean, it's kind of obnoxious, but again, you can just tell them, fuck off, and just consider the fact that you're a better player than they are if you're getting messaged by that, even if it does piss you off, and take to heart the fact that they're probably just not as good as you are, and they don't know exactly what's going on, and they don't know the difference between stacked teams and team stackers, like I've just told you. So anyway, you can see the round ended there. We won barely, and as you can see on the scoreboard, I won MVP by 1 point over the next guy. So that's what I meant by it was very, very close in a couple of ways. So I hope you enjoyed this footage. If you really do enjoy all of my content, feel free to subscribe, comment, rate, all that stuff. Please use the rating system as it's intended. If you liked it, rate it up. If you didn't like the video, rate it down. And as always, I'm always open to feedback as to what I can do better. But anyway, that's it for me. I will see you next time.